All right. And we're live. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Today's Weather Tonight. Here, as always, I am your comedian / meteorologist. That's what I call a meteorologist, Cloud Hudson. And I am going to be bringing you all of tonight's top weather stories and the bottom weather stories and the verse weather stories. And the switch weather stories. Okay. Let's go ahead and jump into it. It is 2025. Woohoo! We made it through another year. Welcome back to Today's Weather Tonight. This is now the 2025 edition. I started this channel exactly 1 year ago. So this is the anniversary episode. Hi, Wes. I'm happy to see you. Joyous New Year to you and your loved ones as well. I'm so happy to see everybody that comes. But if you, as you come along, make your presence known in the chat. Let me copy and paste that in there. I think I have a chat box that can pop up on the screen sometimes. It might pop up sometimes. Let me make sure I've got it in every... Yeah, I mean, I've got it on here. Whether it pops up, I don't know. But let's go ahead and start off with today's first round of stories. We got video capturing dramatic rock slide above portions of two Colorado highways. A rock slide occurred at the intersection of two highways. Colorado's Department of Transportation closed both portions of the road. That is the dramatic video. That is terrifying. I'm already scared enough driving by mountains like that. I don't need to see videos of this happening in real life. But honestly, the mountains I drive by every day over here in the Appalachians don't look as dry and crumbly as that. That looks like a under-moistened dessert, that looks like some sort of cake you didn't bake right. That looks like dry, crumbly rock that just isn't gonna have much holding it together. Speaking of shit falling down from the sky, we've got some space debris weighing over 1,000 pounds crashes into Kenya Village. So we already talked about Kessler syndrome, the impending doom scenario in which all the space junk that surrounds the Earth starts crashing into each other and starts a chain effect, a ripple effect of, things blow up and shatter into a million pieces, and those million pieces shatter into or cause other things to shatter, creating this chain reaction of debris interfering in the cloud around Earth. You would think the space junk could just fall down on its own and burn up in the atmosphere, but what happened here in Kenya is this 1,000-pound thing was supposed to burn up in the atmosphere, but it did not. Nobody was hurt, thank goodness. There was let's see, he was on vacation. That was an American family. NASA faced a lawsuit from an American family earlier last year for a cylindrical object tearing through the home of somebody in Naples, Florida. So this is an isolated incident, apparently, according to the Kenyan Space Agency, but not really, not exactly unheard of. Sometimes, for whatever reason, things don't burn up upon reentry. Sometimes they have a freak accident where it makes it back. Now that means that they underwent the same conditions that you try to recreate for returning rockets that have live passengers in them. So I don't know how they randomly roll the dice and land on I don't burn up on reentry. That's something I haven't studied yet. Not related to the weather, but big news headline was that there was somebody who drove a truck into a crowd of people in New Orleans, killing 15 people and injuring at least 30. That has postponed the Sugar Bowl, which usually happens in where does it happen? Caesars Superdome. I think that is that's in New Orleans. Sugar Bowl usually happens in New Orleans. It was going to be Notre Dame and University of Georgia, but that is not happening because they needed to secure the perimeter. We will come back to that article in a second. It is when we talk about the weather. Other news headlines that I thought was super exciting because apparently both the Cybertruck that exploded outside of the Las Vegas Trump Tower and the truck that was used in the New Orleans ramming attack were both rented on a platform called Turo, which I've never heard of Turo before. Maybe I have and I just didn't register, but interesting that both of them were used in the attacks there. I think this attack of a Cybertruck outside Trump Tower is obviously like politically motivated, but from which side, which direction? Is this pro or anti Elon or Trump or both or neither? Is it just is this a big artistic statement? Let's see. The driver, it wasn't an artistic statement because, well, maybe it was. Kevin McMahill said that, the police department sheriff said that the driver of the Tesla Cybertruck was killed and 7 others were injured. So was this on purpose? Very well. With what the event that occurred in New Orleans and the number of additional IEDs. So as you can imagine, the explosion here will take all the precautions. Okay. So Elon Musk says that the explosion was caused by very large fireworks and or a bomb in the bed of the Cybertruck. Of course, it wasn't the actual Cybertruck at all itself. There's no way you could hack into that thing and make it blow itself up, right? I'm sure that people have looked into how to do that. Hello. Thank you. Thank you. I'm glad to see you. Kaylee. Hi. We've made it 13 years past the end of the world. Yes, we have. Same app. Yes. That's crazy. That's crazy to me. These apps have got to stop. Maybe we should stop apps. Yes. Hi, Kaylee. I'm glad you're here. I hope that you're not still being attacked, but I understand that this is a very intense energy right now that's going on from the solar storm. So you might still be dealing with some sort of psychic attacks right now. I like to think that every apocalypse that is predicted did actually occur as an apocalypse for someone. I'm glad you're still hanging in there. I like to think that somebody did actually get raptured every time we think there's going to be a rapture. And so maybe several people did get raptured last night. Okay. Spectacular eruptions at Hawaii's Kilauea volcano reach 130 feet in the air. Here's some beautiful video of the fountaining of the eruption at Kilauea on December 29th, I think is what that caption indicates. Between the 23rd and 29th, there were three different eruptive phases. The first two, it erupted and receded, and then it started to erupt for much longer. The first two were like only a couple hours worth of an eruption, and the third one lasted a lot longer. Let's go ahead and talk about our volcanoes while we're on the subject. Okay. Got pictures of Samiru and Nakono coming up. Let's look at the January 1st, 2025. Ooh, here's some great intense fountains in the southwest corner of the Halemaumau crater floor. Let's see. Continuously observing volcanic ash in Sakurajima, but not from Suwanosejima. Let's see if we've got, yes, good. The effusive eruption from the southwestern part of the summit caldera continues. The new lava lake layering persists as vigorous fountaining produces lava flows resulting from hot fluid blebs. I love the phrasing of volcanology updates. The new lava lake layering persists as vigorous fountaining produces lava flows resulting from hot fluid blebs. Blebs is the technical term we're using here, falling to the ground. Some fountaining jets surpass 20 to 30 meters in height. The summit seismic activity has been diminished over the past 24 hours, with only one small magnitude quake detected and none in the upper ERZ or East Rift Zone in Western Rift Zone, I'm guessing is Eastern and Southwestern Eruption Zone. I don't know. The volcanic tremor continues to be elevated due to powerful fountaining activity over the past 24 hours. The summit deflation continues, reflecting magma intrusion and migration under the surface. Popo had sporadic volcanic ash emissions. Santiaguito had possible ash emissions. Fuego, frequent volcanic ash emissions. Nevado del Ruiz, also possible. And new volcanic ash emissions out of Reventador in Ecuador. Now that goes along with yesterday. We probably talked more about this recent restart no, we didn't talk any more about Kilauea yesterday. Okay. Let's go now to talk about our atmosphere because it's about to get dangerously cold. We had a very warmest year on record winter last year, but this year we have had a significant number of cold days, a decent winter performance. We've had several days of snow in my area, which is a good indication that we're having a healthy winter. And it looks like over the weekend, we're going to see temperatures plummet as we get a bit of the polar vortex intruding into the continental United States. We will be in single digits in Nebraska, Iowa, and Illinois, and maybe 25 degrees below zero in North Dakota. Breezy conditions for the eastern half will make it feel even colder than the thermometer reads. That's because of wind chill. And Even Atlanta to Raleigh might feel teens as we get into Saturday morning. Temperatures will be 5 to 20 degrees colder than normal for much of the central and eastern United States this weekend, including Gulf Coast states. High in the low 70s is typical for Florida at the beginning of the year, but the city may not break out of the 50s on Saturday. And they may be at risk of a overnight freeze warning. So that would mean both the citrus crops that are currently need this time to incubate their early season growth may freeze, and also that iguanas could freeze in the trees and start raining from the sky. That is something that happens when we get January frozen temperatures here in Florida. Not here in Florida, but in Florida. Cold is likely to stick around through the second weekend of January. This could leave the atmosphere primed to deliver snow and ice, potentially in places that don't typically receive it. Now, that is probably coinciding with our moon going into Aquarius. We are also in the colder decan of Capricorn. We're in that cool second decan. I forgot to do earthquakes before we talked about our atmosphere. Let's talk about earthquakes real quick, because I do want to get to our atmosphere. I feel like a bleb. Sometimes I feel like a bleb too. Deflation, great news for the seismic economy. Yes, exactly. We're all wet bulbs in God's variable temperature car. Wet bulb temps refer to the temperature of a bulb that is wet. Okay, that makes sense. There's a sling psychrometer. There's an instrument in meteorology called a sling psychrometer, where you have a stick and there's two thermometers attached to the end of the stick, and you spin it around like some child's toy, and you feel very childlike. You feel silly slinging this thing around, and you have to do that for like 15 minutes. But what you're doing is exposing one of the thermometers has a little piece of like cheesecloth wrapped around the bulb that is wet at the start of your slinging. And then as you sling it around, it evaporates all the water off of it. And the wet bulb is the temperature of that the thermometer reads on the one where you put the piece of wet cloth. It indicates the amount of heat lost to evaporation while drying off that piece of cloth. So it gives you kind of it is one of the it's one of the values you need to calculate the dew point, but it is not the actual dew point. Wet bulb temps are it's different than dew point, but it is used to calculate it. We're all wet blebs. It is funny that you said wet bulbs, though, because wet bulb is actually a thing that is a weather term. Okay, we do feel like blebs today, and that's okay. You're God's favorite blebs. I love you and miss you. I'm happy I'm here too. Ban the App Store. We might be close to that. We might be closer to that future than we think. That's why you should always get things in writing. And I don't mean like your paperwork for a lease or a car. I mean, get your information, your like things that you need to know and learn, things that you would be Googling or looking up. Get that information in a hard copy, just in case you don't have the ability to digitally access anymore. It could happen. You could, I don't know, forget to pay your internet bill or your light bill and then it goes away. Or something outside of your control could remove the internet or power, and you might still want to be able to look stuff up. So have a good little folder of knowledge stored somewhere in hard copy. Okay, we've still got a lot of activity. We're looking at the earthquakes now. We still got a lot of activity happening here in Ethiopia, in the East African Rift Zone, the Great Rift Valley, in Ashar Awad, I think is the name. Awash. Where's the state name? Afar. Awash and Afar are the area and city names in Ethiopia, in central Ethiopia, that where the two mountain ranges are separating, and we are getting the Great Rift Valley is separating really fast right now, and we are getting a lot of earthquake seismic activity with it lately. This is all indicated by global seismic reports that triangulate this to be a place where earthquakes are happening. No local data publicly available online yet. 4.8 at 10 kilometers depth up here in, do I have borders on? This doesn't show a border between, oh yes it does. In China, we had a 4.8 at 10 kilometers depth. Not seeing much in the Western Pacific, which is odd, except we do have a 5.1 out here on the wave-shaped plate boundary. This is in Tonga near Nuku Alofa. That is just on the subsidence side of the Tonga Islands. Now down here in Antarctica, on the border of Antarctic and Old Zealand, the Zealandia plate, we've got in the Bellini Island region, we've got what is this? A 5.5 at 10 kilometers depth. Very cool. That is probably right on the plate boundary there. How deep was this 5.1? That was also a 10. Also down here while we're near the Southern Ocean, we'll go to this 5.2 in the Tristan da Cunha region. I don't know. I have never heard of this region before, but it certainly is a region. It's on the mid-Atlantic ridge, further south than the latitude that South Africa goes to, but definitely on the same latitude as both Chile and Argentina before they taper off. Also around the same latitude as where Australia ends, kind of near Tasmania and New Zealand. So that is, if I turned off, yeah, the opposite side of the world from that would be actually right up there in the Himalayas, where we had a earthquake the other day. Let me turn the Earth's surface back on. Do I want that one? Yeah, I want to look at where the plates are. Here we got a nice little chunk of twos going on in Puerto Rico. We had a surface 3.1 down here in Wyoming, a 3.0 at 5 kilometers depth up here in Nebraska. Nebraska has so little in it, but so many songs reference it. We've got a 3.0 at 7 kilometers depth here in central Texas. And then what's this over in California? What is, got a 1.4? Is this a big one? What is this surface one? Yeah, we got a 4.7 here, just north of the Bay Area. That is in Cobb, California. This is in the Mayacamas Mountains. Mayacamas Mountains. It's near Cobb Mountain. It was due west of Boggs Mountain Demonstration State Forest and just south of Clear Lake and Bartlett Mountain, that kind of area. So if you know that area, that is where we saw the 4.7 today. That was a 4.7 at 1 kilometer depth. So pretty decent quake. I bet people could feel it. 3.1 over here in Western Nevada. We also had a 3.1. Yeah, I talked about those already. And a 3.0 down here in Texas as well. Let's see. Bringing back in our lower level quakes, we can see them scatter themselves through the area. Had a decent amount spread out in Alaska too, so it's back on its bullshit up there. We had a few, let's see, like how many quakes are here? Sorry, not trying to make you seasick, just trying to zoom in enough. 4, 5. Okay, there's like 5 quakes that happened around Hawaii's Big Island today. Also, there was a 5.1 out here on the East Argentinian Rise. That is a 5.1 at 10 kilometers depth. That it says south of Easter Island, but I don't think that is anywhere close to Easter Island. I mean, it technically is south of it, but I would call this west of Chile. This is the East Argentina. What am I talking about? The Rise. That is west of Chile, in my opinion, but it's right on this border region. Okay. Now let's talk about Zach has obtained ham radio handbooks. Perfect. You're going to need that. You're print magazining your way through 2025. Good. We need somebody to be a zine archivist. I'm sure that many people consider themselves to be, but we need many people to do that. Okay, let's go to our atmosphere. So today I noticed in the mid-level water vapor, I was just struck by how beautiful the patterns are in being formed here in the wake of the Appalachian Mountains. And I do believe that the patterns formed here are happening due to the same forcing that creates ripples in the sand at the beach and in the desert and in the ocean, just underneath the wave surface. There is something, let me make sure this is a little bigger here, and then let me zoom in to hope this doesn't, the counties don't blab it out too badly. But like, can you see that here? Really through here, this is where I'm talking about. This is where I'm talking about these ripples, these waveforms patterns happening. And you can see up here, they're almost more like square, rhomboid type. That means that it's shallower of a flow there. This is more of a deep sinusoidal wave type and combination wave type. I'm just learning this as I'm going along. I found a good little, put a link to this in the chat. I really like learning about fluid dynamics and the way that fluid flow shapes the world around us. This is, I think, an example of when you should use aesthetic approximation, which is, I think that in meteorology, we should be looking at what the clouds look like and applying other scientific formula to those clouds to gain information from them. So like if we see these ripples in the clouds forming, maybe we would be able to know the relative speed and density and particle size of the cloud water droplet makeup, depending on the pattern and shape of the ripples that are forming in it. Because there are very specific mathematical values corresponding to where the ripples will form and how high they'll be and how far apart their wave peaks and troughs will be, depending on particle size, speed of the laminar flow, and speed of object creating the flow. So yeah, I just thought that was really neat. I wanted to mention that I think we should be using all the resources around us as meteorologists to take a second look at the data we have in front of our faces. I think this satellite imagery would be a great example of how to apply, like, inferring values about the weather from aesthetically approximating, oh, this looks like a sinus wave or a linguoid wave or a like a rhomboid wave. If it looks complex like this, what types of waveforms together had to make that? This is a geology site, so they're talking about how these waves can get formed in sand and baked into the sedimentary rock, which can tell you the dominant wind current. But here we're thinking of wind creating sediment in and of itself. So like in here, the drier air blowing across and blowing across our moister air mass, creating little pockets of dry trenches. I just like that imagery. It's really, really cool to me. Let's see. Our lower level water vapor shows a lot of water vapor coming in from the Pacific Northwest, mostly following this stationary front through the upper plains. And this is what's going to spiral down into this is what's going to drag all the polar air into the United States coming up in the next few days. As you can see, our radar isn't even showing that much. We've got very little in the way of precip going on right now, except for the fact that this is not just, it's a low reflectivity, but there is lots of snow associated with this. So most of the places that are getting precipitation right now are getting snow. So it's a very snowy new year for many folks. That includes people all the way up and down the Northeast, in the Great Lakes region, in the northern and central Appalachian regions, parts of Nebraska, Wyoming, and Colorado, as well as like most of the mountain states. There's a little bit of snow everywhere for people, and there should be snow chances for the Carolinas coming up within the next week. Let's actually look at that. Look at our forecasts. I don't know if I'm coming year. Just because I don't think it's a very funny bit to say. I just couldn't get the bit to work of saying I'm a meteorologist who only recaps the weather. It's kind of funny, but it's not that funny. It's not like funny, haha funny. It's like, that's weird. Let's see. 24-hour snow. Here's where we're looking for snow in the next 24 hours. 48-hour snow. Ooh, we are looking at possible higher elevation snow in western North Carolina. That's really exciting, but I think the biggest snowfall chances come in like 3 to 4 days. So let's see. We are definitely getting into those 20s within 3 days as low temperatures. Got some frigid air sweeping in. Yeah, day 3, day 4, minds look pretty low. Day 5, even colder. Day 6, still getting colder. And the highs on day 7 are still only barely going to top out where our lows started at the beginning of the week. So big cool down coming. Let's take a look at our observed precip over the past day. This is where we've gotten some rain. Oh, wait. I didn't change my thing. There we go. This is where we've gotten some rain over the past 3 days. This is where we've gotten rain. And in the past week, we have gotten, remember that tornado outbreak in the deep south last week? That is still applying to our rain totals. That's our observations. Let's see. Current hazards have a wind advisory, high wind watch, and dense fog advisories, winter weather and winter storm watches and warnings all over the place. And still looking at a flood warning throughout much of that area that got all that severe weather like 3 days ago on the 29th, I think, from Illinois and Indiana to Arkansas, Mississippi, Texas, Louisiana, all of this Mississippi River Valley region getting flooding risk. Now, let's talk about the magnetosphere, because we just experienced a big solar storm. It was a significant solar storm that hopefully will show up on these models, because it had a real discharging effect on the radiation bands around the Earth that helped precipitate some charge down to the surface of the Earth, and also affected the shape and values of the magnetotail. Let's see, this one might not go back far enough to show it either. Yeah, we're still in 2025. So looking at the wake of these pressure things, and damn, look how charged up the radiation belts are. There's a lot of pressure in the radiation belts around Earth in the magnetosphere. So that's what we're looking at right here, is radiation belts. Let's look at what that's meant for our Schumann resonances. Guys, forgive me for eating on stream, but I can't get enough. There's like a discount warehouse near me, and recently, like, somewhere had these little bites go expired while they were still on the shelves, and they're really good. They're like really good. I can't help myself. I gotta eat them. They're party flavored. I got a box of like 20 packs for like $5. It is stupid. What Emancipation Proclamation aesthetic approximation? I'll type it. So aesthetic approximation is a term that I coined to refer to when you see two patterns in nature that resemble each other, and you use the known equation governing one pattern to apply it to the pattern it looks like somewhere else. So in my case, I was talking about using aesthetic approximation, saying that we should be able to, someone should be able to look at the ripples in the waves in the atmosphere and use our knowledge about sediment transport and formation of sand ripples to learn more about the conditions in the atmosphere when you see that pattern happening. I don't know why this is freezing all the time now. I hate this. I gotta stop video, start video. There we go. Okay. So aesthetic approximation is what I call when you use something looking like something else to learn more about it, or to be able to cheat and use one equation as the other. I thought of this term when I was researching cloud iridescence and thought of using interference pattern values to classify cloud iridescence, just like crystallographers use interference pattern colors when classifying the physical values of crystals based on the birefringent properties of their of the crystals. Because clouds and the atmosphere in general do act like crystals optically. Optically, if there was no ground in the middle of the earth and it was just a big ball of atmosphere, it would be, it would have 2 0 points. It would have like an optical axis through it. There's like a sun point and an anti-sun point. Yeah, the sun is a big crystal with a gradient of polarization and an axis of better light transmission and all of those things that go along with the crystal. We're in one big crystal ball. We'll see. Aesthetic approximation means lazy science. Okay, let's take a look at the Schumann resonances. Look at that. Over the past day, we have seen a huge burst in the Schumann resonance values. Of course, we had the radiation belts around Earth charged up really high pressure of plasma in the radiation belts around Earth. And then we had coronal mass ejections and X flares and M flares hitting the Earth, fast solar wind coming at us. Of course, we had a lot of Schumann resonance activity to go with that. Looks like mode 3 was the winner, has the more outsized increase in the very latest data. Let's go to look at that, actually, shall we? Okay, current data suggests there is a high possibility for aurora to appear at the high latitude regions of Nuuk and Reykjavik. So right now there is, look at that. We got a disturbance storm time index of negative 54 nanoteslas. That means that oh, wow. Look at how intense this solar storm got over the past day. We got all the way down to 206 nanotesla. No, predicted was there. Observed, we got to, which one? I want to see. Observed, we got down to 215 nanotesla. And a storm is considered when we're at negative 50 nanotesla, and a strong storm is considered when we get past 100 nanotesla. So we had definitely a really strong solar storm right as we went into the new year this year. Which, what does that mean significance wise? I don't know. I don't know what that means. But definitely in the past day, we've had, really, it was right after the new year started. It was really on the 1st that this happened. Because we're well into the 2nd now. There's a decent possibility for aurora at pretty much all high latitude places. Let's see, aurora. Okay, so we're at a KP index of -4. The auroral oval looks decently intense. Let's look at our KP index. Okay, we reached a KP index of 8 today, which indicates a decent geomagnetic storm. Let's see if we got to G3 or 4 today. Do we have latest news? Yes, we reached a G3 today. G3 threshold was reached at KP7. Cool. So we're also in the waxing crescent phase of the moon. The moon was really pretty tonight. So anybody who can see the aurora probably has a great view of them. Let me see. Is this going to load for me? Let me look for... I have webcams. One of these webcams has frozen rain on it in Canada. Oh yeah, there was freezing rain on the lens here yesterday. Maybe cleaned off a bit, but it's still not very well focused. Yellowknife in the Northwest Territories yesterday and the past few days has had some really good live. It's had some great live footage, but not super active right now. That's not the one I wanted. Let's see, Iceland. No, that's not what I wanted. Sometimes these work very well. I haven't gotten to see. Don't see much on that one. And it's about to be sunrise on that one. let's check out more Canada. Oh, we don't have much more Canada. Greenland actually had some great northern lights over the weekend. Yeah, I mean, this is decent. That's not bad. Yeah, that one's not showing much, though. Yeah. The Tasiilaq heliport has been having the best views of these aurora borealis northern lights. Let's see, where else? Slight possibility for these places. Yesterday, or a couple days ago, Maine was... No, not really showing much. Do I get anything from last night? Last day's time lapse. Last night time lapse is what I want. Oh yeah, look at that. Beautiful. Yeah. This is a decent time lapse of last night's. This is captured from Mount Katahdin at the northern summit of the Appalachian Trail in Maine. You can see all kinds of reds and greens. That is from the northern lights. That is not like the sun coming out in the middle of the night. That is like beautiful footage of... These are all... This is the northern lights happening right in front of your eyes. Really, really pretty. So it's been happening everywhere. I'm sure that as time goes on, we're going to see more and more videos released with these dates as people upload their higher quality footage. These are just the webcams we're streaming right now. Coronal mass ejections. We had a New Year's Day coronal mass ejection. Looks pretty decent on there. On the 31st, we had 38 through 50. Wow. So we had 13 coronal mass ejections happen on New Year's Eve alone. And then from on New Year's Day, we've seen 12 coronal mass ejections. So that is decent, with one being a type 2 possible partial halo effect. Let's take a look at our solar flares. As you remember, the last two times I broadcast, we got an X flare. We've just seen some M flares recently. Nothing too big. Let's see what the models for our space models, space weather models say about when stuff's getting here. Looks like the 4th, we're probably going to get another direct hit. Or not exactly direct hit, but pretty solid hit. I think this is stereo A there. So, or another satellite. So, yeah, this is stereo A right here. So we're just a little... Stereo A is going to get the direct hit and Earth will not. But it looks like on the 4th, we're going to get back up to some possible solar storming again. Whereas the Enlil model shows this potentially going even further to the west. I don't know that that's actually what's going to happen. I think this the WSA is probably more likely because it shows that part of this is going to pair with the Parker spiral that we're going through and kind of help propel it towards Earth a little bit more. Let's look at, okay, this is what the sun's looking like right now. We've got two giant coronal holes facing us. One that kind of looks like the lamp from Aladdin that the genie's in, you know, pretty gnarly looking. We've got this massive hot latitude right here. This band, the southern hemisphere band, is very active right now. Solar protons have finally gone back to normal types of flux. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the day when SDO gets back online and we get to have nice imagery plugged in here all the time. Okay. Let's go now to check out the planets. The planets, of course. Okay. Planets. Now, we have the sun in the second decan of Capricorn. That's associated with the pyramid. That is at 12 degrees of Capricorn. This is applying to a square with both Chiron and Black Moon Lilith. So we are going to get down to business in working on ourselves and on our ideas of relationships with self and other, service to the greater whole, and, you know, honoring your own integrity as well. We've got an exact opposition going on between Pluto in Aquarius and Mars in Leo. So if you are feeling that at all, that is probably, if you're feeling tension between power and ego, or the concept of self and versus the concept of the whole, that's probably where this is coming from right now. Look up Pluto-Mars opposition. It's also a malefic opposition, so the malefics are being mean to each other right now, which I think you can look at as a good thing because they're not bullying other planets. The two planets that like to fight are fighting each other right now. The benefics, Jupiter and Venus, are in air signs right now. So this is lending a lot to intellect and reading, intellectual pursuits, talking, that kind of stuff. Lending a lot of spiritual and intellectual growth ideas to your life right now. I think that Mercury in Sagittarius, while debilitated because it's in its opposite sign, opposite its ruler, it is probably having a pretty good time there. Because I do think that mercurial aspects work well with Sagittarius goals. We've got we have our last day of Venus in Aquarius. Venus is at the 29th degree of Aquarius, conjunct personally my natal Saturn, and also my IC, which is conjunct my natal Saturn. If you didn't want to know too much about me, don't look that up. But suffice it to say, having Saturn at the anaretic degree of Aquarius in your fourth house conjunct your IC is something that makes you really crave like solid communal home living situation. So if my living situation feels off, everything feels off for me. But right now, I do feel the benefic influence of Venus. Like, I was able to make food for my household tonight, and everybody ate it and said it was good. And I like being able to live in community with people, not necessarily be living with who I'm dating, but I like living with other people. I call me crazy. I just think it's nice. And I feel Venus's influence in that. I think that helps us practice at home what we build out in the world of structures of community. Let's see. We also have the moon in Aquarius right now. So we've got Pluto at 1 degree of Aquarius, the moon at 10 degrees of Aquarius, and Venus at 29 degrees of Aquarius. We're feeling very Aquarian today. It's getting very cold too. I believe that Venus and moon and Pluto in an air sign, the winter air sign, would probably influence the weather in that way, but I need to do more astrometeorology reading on that before I tell you for sure. It's also, the sun is also in the middle of Capricorn, so it's the coldest time of year. We're really settling into that just before the dawn type of heating of the day and night. The day and the night and the shifting seasons of the year kind of mirror each other when it comes to temperature changes. Like, it gets hottest just after the peak of summer, not necessarily right at the middle of summer. And it gets coldest in the winter just after the exact middle of winter, not at the exact middle of winter. We're now in the part that the light is coming back, but it is getting even colder because we're now getting soaked to the bone with that deep, deep chill. Okay. Who's still with me? Does the moon being in Aquarius mean anything good for Aquarius people? I think it means, well, it's just one thing that happens once a month. The moon goes through every sign once every month, or every 28 days, actually, every moon cycle. I always feel empowered when the moon is in my sign where my sun is. And Aquarius people means people with sun in Aquarius. So you probably will feel the effects of Venus and Pluto being in Aquarius more physically than other people will. You're probably going to be more influenced by this moon in Aquarius vibe right now. I also feel half asleep. So I feel like I've just been dreaming this whole stream. I feel like, yeah, you are probably going to feel more sleepy and more of a need for rest and listening to the emotional, physical body and the waters internally than you're used to doing as an Aquarius while the moon is in Aquarius. It's a very analytical placement to have your moon in. People with moon in Aquarius natally are great at analyzing. They're great at psychoanalyzing people and understanding emotional motivations, and can be manipulative, but not because they're evil, but because they just understand how people work and know how to get people to do what they want. Now you can choose not to use that for evil and actually use that for good, such as being really good at marketing or being a very motivational speaker. There's a lot of things that go well with having your moon in Aquarius, but you're probably feeling, as a sun in Aquarius experiencing a moon in Aquarius transit, probably more attention being paid to your own bodily needs and your own emotional bodily needs right now. I understand. Wes, I think 2 or 3 of you in the chat are Aquariuses. Oh, really? All you've done is sleep. Well, sometimes sleep is what you need to do. Actually, I'm going to move this chat box to this side. Okay. Sometimes if your body only gives you sleep as the option, that's the only thing you need to be doing. So you don't need to feel bad about it. A lot of healing has to happen when you're asleep because it has to do with the subconscious mind. That is another thing that the moon has everything to do with, is the subconscious mind, the realm of dreams, the fight that you're fighting in the dream world. Doctors in the train. Yeah. Aquarius in the dream world would definitely be doctors in the train. I'm going to go ahead and pull some cards from the liminal space since we're feeling so liminal right now. Since all my lovely Aquarian fans out there are probably drifting off to dreamland, I'm going to give you something to dream about. And I've got a little pillow app I can do this reading with. That's too far down. Lovely. So now you can see and hear the ASMR of my card shuffling. Cancel the crab. This is getting very esoteric, increasingly seeming more like a David Lynch film at this point of the night. As you can see in the background here, I'm still working on my last year's New Year's resolution to draw a different coloring book page every month of the year. And this is my final one for the year. That is the December 2024 page. And I think I will be trying to figure out how to sell that coloring book soon. I'm going to figure out how to publish it any day now. And then I'll be able to send it to y'all if y'all want some fun coloring books to do with me. Okay, liminal space, what do you got for us? What's the vibe weather today? Trash Magic. I love this card. It has a hot glue gun on it. I get the white balance to focus. Yes, it says Trash Magic. Read the little description here. So, Trash Magic says, your first introduction to magic was your imagination. Just make something. No more excuses. So, I think out of nowhere. I'm just going to do it. It's snowing in southern Vermont. Ooh, good to know. That is fun. That's a fun thing to know. Let's see. I'm taking apart my New Year's reading that I did for myself back there. If you are curious what I got, I for the new year, I drew the Lover's card in reverse, the King of Swords upright, and the Magician in reverse. So I drew 2 major arcana. Both major arcana were in reverse, and the only minor arcana I drew was the King of Swords upright. So I think that really is telling me to stay in my lane this year, keep doing what I'm doing, stick with working my magical process of unfolding life and mystery as we go. And don't worry about trying to convince people that I'm doing the right thing. Just do the right thing. Just do me, and figure that they'll get it eventually. March to the beat of my own drum, and eventually people will understand what drum I'm marching to. Maybe they don't even understand that there is a drum. Maybe they don't know what a drum is, so they can't even fathom why I might be walking like that. But the way my feet move will make more sense when you can hear the instruments of the universe that I can. And you'll be able to hear them the longer I dance fearlessly to them. Okay. So what does that mean? Do I get lucky? I don't know what you mean by that. King of Swords, my fave. Good. Yeah, that was the one that I drew for the material world. Okay. What do you have to do with trash magic? Affirmation deck. It says, anything I can imagine being, doing, or having, I can be, do, or have. And this has like the image of somebody swimming at the top of a murky lake. It says, ask yourself why you want it. The essence of your desire is activated, and the universe begins to bring it to you. It's as easy to create a castle as a button. So, practicing manifestation. It's all creation. It's all imagination. The creative process of even drawing things, even talking in creative conversation with any medium, that's all practice and manifestation. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Now I'm going to draw a tarot card that goes with this. It's about time. This is my little labradorite that I keep with the holographic tarot cards. Oh, and the other crystals that I keep with the other decks are selenite and ocean jasper. Okay. All right, what card do we have with, well, somebody tried to jump out. Let's see if you try to jump out again. Okay. Going with trash magic, and anything I can imagine being, doing, or having, I can be, do, or have. The Page of Wands. Page of Wands. So this is the beginning of a new creative physical expression endeavor. This is literally starting manifesting everything that you want to do. This is such a cool spread of cards to draw for the new year. This is screaming from the rooftops that we can manifest anything we want this year. Not literally anything. I mean, unless you're really good at it. Anything that you are ready to make, you can. Anything you can imagine being, doing, or having. If you can imagine it happening, then you can be, do, or have that. If you can't quite imagine it yet, then you can't quite create it yet. But anything you can currently imagine, you can create. Remember that creation as a child was your very first act of play, was your first act of creative manifestation. And but there is some dignity in the masculine expression of manifestation. There is some dignity and honor and cool magic about the outward staff, the lingam, the phallic imagery of manifesting, moving in one direction, type of forward aligned movement. There is power and value in that in a healthy, divine way, not in the abusive or dictatorial or oppressive way. When we think of masculinity as a healthy expression of the creative energy that is fed by the feminine blackness of source, then we do understand. Actually, this is a very masculine figure. The Page of Wands. Masculine colors in the tarot are yellows, reds, oranges, that sort of thing. He's got a salamander all over his coat. He's holding a very phallic, big old stick. He's got a feather in his cap. That's phallic imagery as well. The mountains are phallic. All of these are very, this is a very phallic card. It's a very creative card. It's very much a man in his creative energy type of card, which isn't bad. It's just what's going on here. It's what's happening in 2025. This is, I think, a good vibe check for the entire year. Hopefully we will all be able to stay in our lane, because that is the way that you can most accurately take time to imagine and envision what you want to manifest. We're going to be able to manifest that. And hopefully that's going to be a beautiful world. Whatever we're all individually creating will come together to make something really cool. It's nice to see 6 of you on here right now. I love you ever so much. I hope that you come back in the coming nights. I am a nightly comedian / meteorologist who talks about the vibes of the planets, the sun, the atmosphere, the earth, the tectonic plates, the volcanoes, all of it, all of its waves, all the way up and down. And I talk about that every single night. So And I've done it for a whole year now. Yay. I did it. I have a show. I have a YouTube show. And I love you guys. And I'm glad that you're here. And I've made such amazing friends in this past year through you all out there in the chat. So I'm so grateful for you. And I can't wait for another beautiful, exciting year of weather. This is going to be one fiery year. Lots of air and lots of fire, lots of air to fuel the fire. Things are going to be burning down, but yeah, you just missed my weather update portion. Do you need a forecast for any specific area? Because we're oh, where'd my radar omega go? Is this? Oh, I was showing radar omega. I don't know where it went. I think it pooped out on me. I gotta restart it. Yeah, I am a weather lady. Okay. This is the winter weather outlook right now from radar. Pretty much everywhere, if there's precipitation, it is snow. So if it's not precipitating, then it's not snowing. There's only like a little bit of part, like Northern California and Northern Nevada has some rain in it. There's also like a little bit of like parts of New Hampshire and Maine and Massachusetts are getting some rain. But like even down in West Virginia and Kentucky, they're looking at snow. Places in the upper elevations of Western North Carolina are looking at snow. We're about to get some cold air moving in. So no matter where you are, let me show you this temperatures. This is from the National Forecasting Database. Look at this. This is where freezing temperatures come in. This is sub-zero temperatures coming in. So sub-zero temperatures are like beyond the purple here. Freezing temperatures are beyond the cyan, the light blue there. So we're getting really fucking cold for the first few days of 2025. Everybody hold on to your hats. It's going to be a cold one. So maybe we use our manifestation to manifest a fireplace, maybe a fire pit, maybe a friend with a fireplace. I don't know. It's snowing in the corner of southern Vermont, Massachusetts, New York. Yes, it is. Yeah, and its chances of snow are going to continue to increase for more parts of the country as we go through the end of this week into next week. We're going to be in that nebulous zone between there's going to be wintry mix chances for sure too. The only thing we should be taking about tonight is, oh yes, you missed the part of the broadcast where I did acknowledge this at the top of the broadcast. Sadly, there was a tragic act of violence committed last night, and I have a feeling this is setting the tone for this year, that there will be more random, unfortunate acts of chaotic destruction, directed in ways and for reasons that we do not understand. Let's pray for everybody whose lives were lost, and have a moment of silence followed by a ringing of the bell for the people who survived them and the people that we don't know we're going to lose to random acts of violence this year as well. Let's try to hold the light and the love of God in our hearts and be grateful for every day that we do get with each other. So 15 people were raptured last night, and we have to believe that they're in a better place. We have to believe that they were ready to ascend. And that the rest of us simply haven't gotten there yet. All right. I love you guys. Have a great night. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.